Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
And it is Coffee Ann here on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan. Melissa Murray's here. Hi, Melissa.
Good morning.
And there she is right there. And we'll be joined by Dave Richards. He'll be down in just a few minutes here. And at 8:30, State Rep Bob Phillips will join us on the Coffee Ann program as well. So it is Memorial Day 2024. And before we jump into all the fun stuff, Dave and I were having a discussion earlier, Melissa, and I don't know how well you know the Kenny Rogers song "Coward of the County."
I don't.
All right.
I probably would know it if I heard it.
We played it a little earlier, and so the question, the discussion was: does the protagonist in the song go and kill the three guys that assault his wife, or does he just beat them up?
Okay, I'd have to listen to it. I'd have to hear it.
Because to me, it can be taken both ways. It doesn't say he gets a gun and takes them, but he goes and meets them in a bar room and
teaches them a lesson.
And locks the door. And,
and
at the end of the song, they say, "Not a Gatlin boy was standing."
Okay.
So, you've got to take it either way. So, I think he kills them, but Dave's a pacifist,
I'm a what?
You're a pacifist, so you think he just
the way you say
he
that
just smacks them around a
makes
little.
It sound like such a bad idea.
Move a little to your other left, Dave.
Move the camera.
I haven't got time to move the camera. Anyway, so it's Memorial Day, and we're doing the show live. So we got a few events going on in the area. North Smithfield has their parade today. That will be up near the Bridge Hills Plaza.
Correct.
And then the George Nasuti 5K run today. That's at 8:30 this morning. And then we have the.
That means you got to be in two places, Melissa.
How are you going to do that?
Magic. No, I have to make a choice.
All right, and we have the Veterans presentation at World War II Veterans Memorial Park.
Correct, and that's at 11.
That's at 11. So we'll be down there. We'll be broadcasting the event from World War II Park today, live on the radio, and we'll be streaming it, weather holding out.
Yep.
On our Facebook page, our website, YouTube, and X, and all like that. So that's coming up at 11. So it's a busy day here in the on Memorial Day. Different events going on around the area. So and that's nice there. So and Dave had the story today, and I read it over the weekend as well. It's in you can read it on valleybreeze.com. And I'm looking forward to this Friday, May 31st, when the flyover bridge opens for northbound traffic on Route 146.
Me too.
Just to see how it all works out.
Yeah.
And like that. And they're very big at saying.
Keep in mind that the speed limit will still be 45.
Oh,
so
okay.
Flyover is a figure of speech.
And they say, if you're in your lane, stay in your lane.
Don't be crossing over. Oh, geez, I think I'm going to take the flyover, and you're on the right.
Yeah, don't race over to the left just to be there, because it all comes down and you just stay on 146.
It ends up at the same place.
You end up at the same place.
I am looking forward to it being open and just to see what it's like. And now, if you got to take a right on the Sales Hill Road, obviously you got to stay to the right.
Right.
And what was that about? If you want to go to Anchor Subaru, Dave, do you go to the right to take a left, or do you still take a left and go under the bridge? Do you remember what it said in the story? If you're going northbound, and do you turn on the left?
But
on
you
the
said it all right.
Road?
I'm not wondering why.
Okay.
I'm wondering why there's a question. Yeah, you stay on the right to go local.
Yeah.
Make a turn, or if you really enjoy the light. But you end up in the same place. Now, if you take the flyover bridge, you can't then end up in Anchor Subaru's parking lot unless you fly there. And
Literally.
then again, I told you don't take flyover term literally.
Yeah. Okay.
But you will have to really fly and land in there. You can't. If you want to go there the conventional way, stay on your right. You'll be brought onto the side. You can take your left turn.
It's kind of like a service road, small.
Exactly, and that's what it's going to end up being, a local service road. I looked at the press release that the DOT put out, and I was telling Joe earlier this morning, Melissa, that, many times I have cause to admire the folks at the Rhode Island DOT because they're really smart people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and
Smart engineers.
they think things out. Now, it's so easy if something comes out not to your liking or if they make a mistake, which humans can do, to say, they're a bunch of fools, leaning on shovels, blah, 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 that sort of thing like that. But you stop and consider the complexities and the political problems you have with a construction project of this type. And so they took away the center lanes and left you with 2 lanes when they crowded over to the right on each northbound and southbound side so that they could put up a 2-lane flyover bridge. And you saw the abutments go up, then you saw the girders come in, then you saw them put in the gravel and compact it, and sides and drainage. And Denise and I were just driving by it on Friday, and I looked and I said, that just doesn't look right with those big drainage pipes sticking out into oblivion like that. I'm sure they're going to make it wider.
Yeah.
And indeed,
Right.
I was correct.
Yeah.
What they've built is 2 lanes because they're going to need 4, but a minimum of 2 to carry the traffic either north or south.
Right. So there won't ever be just down to 1 lane going one way on one side.
Right. But you say to yourself, why did they just make half of the bridge? Why didn't they just make all of the bridge? Well, the fact is they have to keep the intersection running. So they're doing it in phases.
Yeah, I
So
can't
the first 2 go up, and then they're going to use it on either north or southbound. Now, anybody who's driven that area with any kind of frequency knows that northbound needs more help than southbound. It backs up way past where the cable company used to be, way back
To 295.
to 295.
Yes, it does.
And almost daily.
Yep.
And so because of that, if you're looking for relief, you're likely to get more relief for more people if you take the northbound side and let them use the new flyover bridge. Then what they're going to do afterwards is that right now you have 2 lanes on the right of the fly bridge on both north and southbound. They're going to get you on one direction with the 2 lanes they just built, and then they're going to add in a lane to each side of that, making it the 4 lanes they need. Because right now, as you look at those 2 lanes, you say to yourself, listen, if there was a tractor-trailer truck going to Worcester and a cement mixer going toward Providence, on that little tiny piece of bridge,
They can't pass each other.
they'd clip each other
Yeah.
for sure. So it's not wide enough. But indeed, of course, it's going to be 4 lanes wide with 1 service road on the right-hand side in both directions to take care of local service. It's brilliant the way they're doing it. Just totally brilliant the way they're doing it.
All right, I do have a question, though.
Yeah.
So when the flyover bridge is open, and that's Route 146. So if you want to go to Worcester, you should be on that. If you want to go into Woonsocket and get onto 146A,
Same thing.
Can you still go on the flyover bridge?
yes.
Or do you go on the
Yeah,
lower
yes.
part?
Oh, yeah, because they merge just
Yeah, I'm
a
gonna
few
merge.
hundred yards afterwards,
Okay.
way before the West Acres interchange. So you could go either side. You could do the local side and enjoy the light. And by the way, this is so well designed that the word I got from Rhode Island DOT is that after this work is done, the stripes are on and everybody's running kickety-boo, they're going to rip out the lights.
Well, yeah. That's
You
the whole
won't
point
need
of it.
them on the
Right.
service road.
Yeah.
You won't need them because it's a stop sign will do.
Yeah. I don't even know if they're going to have that.
Well, a stop sign would do. You don't need a
I mean,
light that you got to keep.
People should know to stop, but sometimes folks have to be told.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that this, when it's done, shows the Rhode Island DOT in its best light.
Well, look, I guess it has to be a stop sign because if you're coming up Sales Hill Road and want to go south on 146, you're going to have to stop and wait for a break in the traffic before you can take a left. Same thing with if you're on Iron Mine Hill Road and want to take a left to go on 146 North, you can't go onto the
Stop
bridge.
signs and yield signs would
Yeah.
take care of whatever's necessary.
Okay. All right. So, and just be careful when you're using the new flyover bridge because all you have is those wooden barriers.
There's no
on
real
the side.
guardrails.
So,
So
they're not-
theoretically,
it's not
you
gonna
could fly into
it's not
the
gonna protect you
Subaru,
that
but you'd have
much.
to be going more than 45. That's for sure.
All right, so that's going to start this Friday. So something to be aware of.
As most of us who visit North Central State Airport know, that takeoff speed is 77.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's 88 in Back to the Future.
Yeah, I know.
It's gonna
But that's a DeLorean. It's stainless steel. It's
With
a
my-
heavier aircraft.
my flux capacitor in the back. All right. Well, they had just a crazy story over the weekend in Massachusetts where this guy allegedly stabs 4 girls at a theater in Braintree, gets away, and drives to Plymouth, which is a good 30-minute drive, if not longer,
Yeah.
from Braintree, and then allegedly stabs 2 more people, a couple, at a McDonald's for no reason, just because.
Just because.
And the girls were ages 9 to 17. And so the 17-year-old was probably in charge of the 9-year-olds. You know, I'm going to take my sister or cousin, whatever. I'm going to go to the movies and probably see something very family-oriented, and it's going to be a very nice day.
How old was the guy? Did they say?
I
Usually
thought
they
he,
at
I thought he said he was in
least-
his 30s,
Okay.
but I'm not positive on that. But everyone's going to recover. And so that's the good news, is that no one was
Physically,
killed in these attacks.
yeah,
But
I
geez,
imagine
that's just awful.
Trauma,
Yeah,
being stabbed, especially if you're a child,
yeah.
is going
And
to
you
stay
don't
with
know-
you
and
for the
don't-
rest of your life
and
by
you
a
don't
random
know
stranger,
why.
right? Just randomly.
Yeah, I haven't done
that's-
anything wrong. I was just out having a good time, and this happened. So
Yeah, that's terrible.
but this, thank goodness for cameras on utility poles and things like that, and probably at the theater as well. Who were able to nab the license plate and track him down there in Plymouth. And I don't know, maybe his McNuggets were too cold at the McDonald's.
Serial offender, serial violence.
Yeah.
Or a serial stabber, like, because that's just bizarre, but
The other bizarre story is this man that was attacked at a parking lot in Providence by a couple of guys and a woman who over a parking space, and she decided to take her shoe off, and she was wearing heels, hit him over the head with the heel. First of all, that's going to ruin your shoes. And
Like-
then
Ain't going to do much for him either.
no, and she used a high heel shoe, which I'm assuming she was just wearing,
right.
to hit him. And then the guys went and grabbed a cinder block and hit him again with the cinder block. That's
Over a parking space.
Yeah, it happened in the parking lot of the Opa restaurant on Federal Hill. I don't know if you know where that
Oh
is.
my gosh.
Yeah, on the hill, on an argument early Saturday morning. It was actually Friday night into Saturday morning.
Well,
Well, it's 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like we
From
say,
Friday into
nothing
Saturday.
good
You
ever
gotta-
happens after midnight.
You got to keep in mind that some people just get angry.
Yeah.
And they're angry and they're irritated by the things that irritate all of us. And they don't handle it well. And it just builds up and builds up and builds up till they lose reason. And this could be an explanation for the person with the knife. Hey, listen, just driving from Park Square to the radio station the other day,
What'd
there
you
was
say- what'd you
somebody.
say?
There was somebody behind me in one of those small cars, and he was just leaning on the horn. Seriously, leaning on the horn. He followed me through Park Square, and then it's like, just leaning on the horn, constantly, not stopping, just on the whole time, and.
But there's 2 lanes now in Park Square. He can go around you.
No. There's only one
Oh, you're
lane
on
there.
Park Ave?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
onto
okay.
Park
I thought
Ave.
you
Like
had
I
gone
was
through the
coming, I
lights.
was coming
Okay.
to the radio station.
Oh, going the other way. Okay.
So I think he was behind me at McDonald's, and so I got over to the right and take the ramp off,
Yeah.
and I'm looking over to the side, and then there's nobody coming, so I don't have to yield, so I'm on there, and I check my speed, and it's 40. It's 25 speed limit, so I see that 25 is what I'm doing. Hit the cruise control because that's what I like to do. Just because it's so difficult to keep it down to 25, and so just because I can, I hit the cruise control on, and I'm looking, and it's 25, and the guy is just leaning on the horn.
You're
Not
going-
fast
you're
enough
going
for
And
this
I'm
person.
going 25, and he's just leaning on the horn all the way to Kennedy Street.
All right.
And I turn on my blinker and I get over to the left because they're going to turn on to Kennedy Street. He's still leaning on the horn.
Did he go around
Now,
you?
there's enough room for him to go around me.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to go around me. He wants to engage me. And he's screaming out his window.
Really? Did he take a left?
It
too?
wasn't English
All right.
because I know all those words. But and I said to myself, this guy's got to take a pill or he's going to end up in trouble.
He didn't follow you onto Kennedy Street.
No,
did
he didn't.
Oh, okay, I'm surprised he didn't.
It looked like he wanted to. He wanted to engage.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
I just kept on going.
All right.
Best way to do is to walk away many times.
Well, in that situation, you don't
Yeah.
know what's in his car.
You don't know what he just took.
You're right. You're
You
right.
don't know if he's hopped up on drugs. You have no idea about those things.
Mm-hmm. And if it does happen, just
And you don't want to find out the hard way.
just don't pull into the parking lot, Dave. Just keep making
Just
your
keep-
way
yeah, keep
to
going.
the police
Right.
station.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, you
When
know,
you pull into that parking lot, then he'll leave.
I've been in situations like
think.
that where I head for a police station. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have been, yeah.
All right, we're going to take our first break here on the Coffee and program. Thanks for joining us this morning. You can call in comments and questions if you like. 766-1240
Nobody's
is
answering the
number to
phone, but
call.
you can call them
Oh,
in.
We'll send Dave out to the phone.
All right.
One of our gold medal winners in the best of the Blackstone Valley is Marshan Environmental of Blackstone. They won gold in the category of septic service. They also won silver in the junk removal dumpsters category. For information, visit marshanenvironmental.com, one of the best of the Blackstone Valley.
Hi, this is Leah Pfeiffer.
And this is Alex Kithis.
We're organizers on the planning committee for Woonsocket Pride, and we're so excited to invite you to the Woonsocket Pride Festival on Sunday, June 9th from 12 to 6 p.m. at River Island Park.
The day will be packed with music and drag performances, speeches, food trucks and vendors, tables for local organizations, a performance with the flags, and a ton of other activities.
Follow us at Woonsocket Pride on all social media to learn more. We hope to see you there.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON Radio.
Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards and Melissa Murray.
You bet.
Just to take a look at the other stuff, crazy news going on. A man
You've
stabs
got
his-
more crazy news?
know.
I thought we had enough
No,
already.
Man stabs his father in Westerly. 21-year-old
Oh,
man.
jeez.
Doesn't say how old the father is. The father is expected to be okay. They do believe it's a mental health issue
Yeah, I would think
going
so.
on down there in Westerly, but it's
Yeah.
just, wow.
Yeah.
That's just a shame that happened there. So and then sorry, Melissa, but the Warwick police had to shoot and kill a dog.
I
in
knew
Warwick.
it. I knew
yeah.
it before you even said it.
Well, the dog was attacking people
Oh.
and another dog.
Well,
so
then.
we got to make a decision, like right now.
Yeah, right.
When officers arrived at the home on Greenwich Avenue on Sunday night, dog charged at them and bit one of the cops. So the dog was taken to an animal hospital. They captured it first, where it was pronounced dead. Although they do say, why did they say the police officer shot? It says a Warwick police officer shot and killed the dog that was attacking people and another dog. Then it says the dog was taken to an animal hospital where it was pronounced dead.
Yeah, they
Okay.
probably have to confirm that the dog isn't rabid. I don't know.
Possibly, yeah.
And they
Okay.
can only do that after
After it's
it was postmortem. Yeah.
Okay. According to Channel 12, the incident may have stemmed from a domestic situation at the house. And maybe the dog's trying to protect
Right, but
somebody.
well, right, but it should still stop when other folks get
Yeah.
yeah.
But then the dog, I don't know.
If the dog's triggered and it can't stop just because
Now
it's
attacking
wired that
everybody.
way,
Yeah.
then yeah, euthanasia sometimes.
It doesn't
is-
say. It does not say what kind of dog, what kind of breed the dog was. Not that it really matters.
Yeah, it could be any.
Well, good, because, any dog could do that.
Sure.
And it's like the same, when you talk about the breed of the dog all the time, and it's in all the stuff, it breeds. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put it that way.
No pun intended,
It
huh?
assists prejudice.
Yeah.
Just like if you said it was a black person that was stabbing people. it assists prejudice. The fact is that a human being did it, or in this case, a dog did it,
Right. That was raised poorly by a human,
or has a problem.
or has just wired wrong.
Right.
I mean, we just make the assumption that this is probably a larger dog, like a German Shepherd.
Well,
size,
you make
and not
those
a,
assumptions.
and not a Chihuahua.
Hey, in my family, the Cocker Spaniels were very temperamental.
Oh, yeah, Cocker Spaniels can be. And, Dachshunds can be snippy,
So,
too.
so,
yeah.
but I mean, my grandmother had dog after dog after dog after dog, and only the last one that was a Cocker Spaniel was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Only the last one.
Did she have Cocker Spaniels?
She did.
all of
She
them?
did. She got away from them after that, but that was her own decision. There was a mutt that she fell in love with, and she had that dog after she had to put the last dog, because that dog ripped me to pieces. First, my sister got her face chewed up, but it was a family gathering. Everybody's like playing games and talking at the table, and she was very small, and she was underneath the table, and the dog was there. We don't know what she did to the dog. We really don't, because she was so young, she wouldn't understand if she put her finger in the eye or didn't even realize she was doing it or whatever like
kick
that.
at it, or
You don't know what.
Right.
We just know that underneath the table, the dog was playing happily, and then all of a sudden turned on the kid and just bit up her face, because I guess they were close proximity. In my case, I had taken the dog out for a walk after school, which was my job, to take care of Grandma's dog. Came back into the house, and my job is, it's raining outside, so we're now patting it dry with a nice fluffy towel, and dog took off on me.
yeah.
I still got scars.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My arm, my leg, my ankle, my ear was hanging off. Oh gosh, yeah, that was a messy thing.
Makes you
Yeah.
wonder. You were just
But it's like
trying the dog. You weren't
what
doing
really
anything
bothered,
mean.
what really
Just got triggered. Some
yeah.
some
we
dogs
don't
are like
know.
that, right?
We have no idea. But my grandmother was from previous generations, which all grandmothers are. A bit more earthy time in our country's history, where animals were dealt with a little differently than they are now. They were still loved in many ways, but not pampered the way they are today. And there was a bit more practicality in people's thinking. If a dog bit someone, it didn't happen, again, without serious consequences.
All right, so that's what took place in Warwick. Brown University had their commencement ceremonies over the weekend.
Yep.
And
They were the
had-
last one.
They had both protests going on. We had pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli demonstrators happening at the commencement exercises. Brown alumni for Palestine briefly interrupted the university president, Christina Paxson, as they called on the school to divest from companies profiting from the war in Gaza. But then we had members of the Rhode Island Coalition for Israel waving American and Israeli flags outside of the ceremony, and they gathered together some more money because they hired a plane
Oh
to
my
tow
gosh,
a banner.
really?
Yeah, to fly. You see them at Patriots games and Red Sox
Uh-huh,
games.
yeah.
The planes that fly overhead carrying the banners. Usually it's for Corona beer or Miller Lite or something
Right,
like
right,
that.
right.
But there was a banner supporting U.S.-Israeli alliance that took place at Brown University.
Generally, protesters don't do big, expensive things like that.
Well, not the protesters, but the coalition probably has more money.
Sure. Oh, right. Right.
They're not really a protest organization. They're just
Yeah.
always there.
They're just
So-
going to push back on whatever else is happening.
Yep. So, and it doesn't say if any of the graduates got up and walked out like they did at Harvard. It just doesn't say. So, and they only interrupted the president briefly to see what they had to say, and then the president go back to her speech. All right. Hey, Bob Phillips is here. Hiya, Bob.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning.
How was your trip back to RI?
Long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we didn't run into that much traffic, but
That's
on
good.
the other side going south, when we were coming north, there was traffic
Lot
from the
going
New
the other
York
way.
border all the way to
Yeah.
like the second service center, which is about 15, 20 miles. So I don't know what was going on there besides construction.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
We're
run
not the
into
only one
that.
doing construction, Joe, in
Oh,
the
no.
state here.
Other-
oh my gosh.
other
95
states-
is doing a lot of construction.
Up and down the whole East Coast. Connecticut as well. Well,
Aren't
Connecticut's
they always
under
though? Like it's
construction.
always something.
Yeah. You like what's happening with 146 and what's with the flyover bridge gonna open on Friday?
I was listening to you this morning on it, and it was like, okay, how are we going to? All right, you got to go in the middle. Oh, you got a picture. Good. I'll read it. I'll look at the picture in a minute.
I drew a picture for you, Bob.
You drew a picture. That's good.
This is how it's gonna look.
But yeah, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. So the people that are going to go
sure.
northbound on 146, please take your time, relax. It's going to get better as the time goes on. But right now, it's going to be
Well,
confusing.
this part,
It will.
this part is the better part.
Well, yeah, it will be. But
I
I'm
don't
just
have to
saying.
deal with the light.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
going to be really well.
Yeah.
And it's only taken what them 50 years.
Yeah.
They've been
No,
thinking.
seriously.
They've been doing some renderings of what it would be like
Yeah.
for years and years and years, and nothing was ever done. Finally, at least it's done. It's working on it, which is good.
And that's Bob's looking at the Valley Breeze article that we printed out. So there's the artist rendering, not mine,
Okay.
of what it's going to look like when it's completely finished.
So there's going to be one lane on each side that's going to go on the downside of the
Yeah.
over ramps,
Yeah, like
and
a
then
little
4
service
ramps
road
going
and-
over.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
It
that's
looks
exactly
nice.
what I envisioned.
Well,
That's
sure.
exactly what I envisioned.
That,
Yeah.
It looks nice though.
It does. See, I can never, whenever they say this is what we're going to do, and I can never envision it. And until I see a picture like this, got it.
This is what I envisioned, but I know they had to widen the road on,
Yeah.
on both sides,
Well,
which
that's what
I
keep
knew that
thinking.
they would have to.
I mean, you got that flyover bridge now. To me, doesn't another one have to be built?
Correct.
Because that one's just only so wide.
Right. It's only going to be 2 lanes. So
Yeah.
it's going
right,
to
so
be
they're going to
4
put one
lanes.
lane on one side and one lane on the other, but they'll do it in stages.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah. Yep.
All right, very cool.
I like it. I approve.
Whoa, thank goodness.
I'm just happy it's done because I've had many people
So
from
many.
this side of the
It's
city.
not done, Bob.
No, I mean it's getting done.
Yeah,
it's going to
okay.
be done.
Yeah.
So I've had many
We
people
wait
from
many,
this side of the
many
city,
years.
and also somebody from off of Elder Baloo that had been saying, when is this going to get done? So I'm glad that they're working on it.
I have purposely saved a press release from the DOT about this particular project, and they say it's going to be completed in 2020. Oh, I should go get it. It's either 25 or 26.
I think it's early 26.
I think that's the number I got in my
Yeah,
head. So,
I'm-
so we're still on project. So they're still on task. They're not behind, at least not yet. So,
But are we on budget?
you know, the press release has nothing about
Of course
budget.
it does.
Nothing about that. It's just will it be on time? We're going to do this, and this, and here's our time frame. So I'll go grab that during the next break. Make sure I get the right times. So that a fire in Pawtucket from last week, from a couple of days last week, they say was started because of an overheated air conditioner.
Yikes.
Yeah, people start putting the air conditioners in the window and saying turn it on, and everything's fine. Maybe you should watch it for a little bit, just to make sure, because obviously investigators say it started to smoke, and residents didn't notice it, and then the smoke.
Oh, yikes.
Now we have fire, and it's like wow, scary.
Yeah, that is, right?
First time I've heard of an air conditioning smoking and overheating,
Yes.
unless there was a lot of dust or something in it from wherever they put it for the
Where they
winter
started, yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You've got to clean out that air filter,
Yes.
at least brush it,
Yeah.
or shake it, or something.
Right. Especially if it's like out in your garage or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how much dust.
And they
is,
only last so long, but I mean,
Yeah.
but I say that, but like I see some really ancient air conditioners. Like it seems to be one thing that like the one appliance that like nobody ever upgrades. So
I have an old one to work that used to be
old
in
one
my
too.
mother's apartment when she was around. So it's been in my
And it's-
garage for, I'm going to have to say 8, 9, 10 years.
Still works though, right?
I believe it still works, but I'm going to,
bet
as you
it's
said, I'm
really
going to
heavy.
clean it. I'm going to clean it out because I know it's got some nuts in it from the squirrels and that. So
there you
know,
go.
when I'm working in the garage or working in the yard, I leave the garage door open, and I know that
They
the
get in.
squirrels and the chipmunks and that get into the garage and have to chase them out.
it's
Well, if
probably
you-
like 1,000 pounds too, like those big giant like.
And if you have one of those little, not a vacuum cleaner, because a vacuum cleaner, the sucking power is too much. But if you have a dust vac kind of thing, run that over the air filter. Get some of the dust out.
Yep.
Little PSA from me. It'll help things out, and you won't have an overheated air conditioner. And the Red Cross is still helping 14 residents
Wow.
that
Big
that
multifamily.
that got displaced because of this one fire. So, is that the one? No, that was another fire where the cars caught on fire and then it spread to a house.
Oh.
That was something. That was
That
something
was a
else.
different one,
That's
I believe.
It
Yes.
was a different fire. Okay, and so not good news. A rehab and nursing home facility in East Providence is closing on July 20th. So they're trying different routes to keep the facility open, but it's all led to closure. And the problem when you close a nursing home is the residents who don't understand why they're moving. We like it here, for the most part.
Right.
And because my cousin owned one, a small nursing home out in Foster for a little while, and he. If you ever meet him, Bobby, I'm sure he'd love to tell you why he had to close, and it all has to do with state government. But anyway,
Sure.
Yeah, well,
sure it does.
away from that, but he told me, it's the residents there who think it's their fault that they have to leave. Don't understand financial situation of the government or anything like that. They're like, we like it where we are. We like the nurses that are taking care of us. We like the food here. Why are we leaving? What have I done badly that I have to go? That's sad.
Yeah, it is.
And you try to explain to them, it's not your fault, but they don't believe you.
Change is hard, and change is even harder the older that you get.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the way it is.
And then they have 100 employees. Will they get jobs at new places? I don't know. 100's a lot to fill.
That's a lot.
Well, there are 100, but there's also a lot of nursing homes who haven't been able to hire people, CNAs and
Yeah.
nurses and people in the kitchen area and custodians or cleaners, whichever way you want to put them.
Also the reimbursement rates are so low.
Oh, the reimbursement rates
it's ridiculously low. It's just really hard for them to retain good people who love to do the job, but
Yeah.
they just simply cannot pay them enough.
All right.
It's a problem.
We're going to take a break here in the Coffee and program. More is coming your way. Time for a look at the forecast, which is being brought to you by Progressive Insurance.
Cloudy skies today, high of 70 degrees. There's a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms, especially late in the day. Tonight, cloudy skies, overnight low of 62. A breeze from the south. 100% chance of rainfall overnight tonight. A half to 3/4 of an inch is predicted. Tuesday's weather. Starts off cloudy in the morning with a chance of a shower, gradually clearing all day to partly sunny skies at a high of 81 with a breeze from the southwest. Wednesday, sunshine and 75. Thursday, partly sunny and 69. Friday, mostly sunny and 70. Saturday, mostly sunny and 72. And on Sunday, mostly sunny skies, high of 74.
Currently outside at the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with cloudy skies. We have 68 degrees. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Delicious entrees, welcoming atmosphere, and a friendly staff, where every seat feels like the best seat in the house. That describes River Falls Restaurant. The new owners invite you to come by and enjoy lunch or dinner. It's Monday, and that means it's burger and beer night at River Falls. For $15, you have your choice of a signature burger and your choice of Bud Light, Coors Light, or a Narragansett. And remember, the outdoor patio at River Falls will be opening soon in May. River Falls Restaurant on the banks of the Blackstone River, Market Square, Woonsocket. Make reservations by visiting riverfallscomplexri.com.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
Hi, I'm Greg Bell, the host of When Radio Was.
I'm Mortimer. Bill. Is that you under that blindfold?
Bill, with this thing on, I can't see who I am.
No, I imagine not. Can't you see anything at all under that blindfold?
On a clear day, I can see the blindfold.
You can?
Yeah.
When Radio Was, shows from the past for today's imaginations.
When Radio Was airs Monday through Friday, right here on ON 1240 Radio at 11 a.m. and 11 p.m.
It is Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan with Dave Richards, Melissa Murray, State Rep Bob Phillips is with us, and we asked Bob to come in because of your officially stopping your mayoral campaign. Yes, Dave.
Yes. Let's talk about this stuff. Everybody wants to hear what Bob has to say about this.
I was
now,
waiting
folks,
specifically till now.
That's right. I mean, enough of this small talk and happy stuff and things like that.
How's your car, Bob?
Yeah. So, seriously. Folks, have you ever looked at a situation and said, yeah, this rots, maybe I could do something about it. And then later on you find out somebody else is already doing something about it. But you weren't going to sit around and not do something about it. Well, it happens, right? Last October, you're looking around, right? And you're seeing what's going on in the city government. And you're saying, okay, well, Lisa's gone. We're going to need, I'd really, really like to help with this. And this might be a good thing for everybody. So you talk to a few friends and you say to yourself, yeah, this might be a good thing. So you say, okay, I'm going to set it as a goal. Later on, you see this person, and things are starting to straighten out and everything. You say to yourself, geez, maybe I was better off where I was.
Well, that's not exactly how it happened, but okay.
That's the setup, so you can correct me.
Well, the first part is pretty accurate.
That's the way it looked.
When Lisa stepped down, we didn't know who might take over.
Right.
There was a lot of juggling around. People thought that Chris Beauchamp wouldn't want the mayor's position because he had a full-time job anyway.
Yeah, sure.
And so the speculation at first was that the city council would reorganize and they would elect somebody who would step into the mayor's position, and then they'd reorganize again and so on. And to be honest with you, the first time it ever entered my mind was when people came to our table when we were out to dinner in one of the local restaurants and said, you would be good for mayor. Why don't you consider running? Why don't you run? And they kept doing that. And it's like, okay, let me think about
Planted seeds.
And that's exactly what happened. And then about 2 weeks later, I came to the conclusion nobody was stepping forward. So I said, you know what? I'm going to run for mayor. And then life gets in the way.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And if I get emotional, I will apologize to the audience ahead of time. But in March, middle to the end of March, when my brother-in-law passed away, and I see what effect it had on my wife and even myself a little bit, it was like, okay, he was 74 years old. He had a little bit of medical issues and that, and I could wrap my head around that and start to get better on that. But then between 6 and 7 weeks later, my cousin passed away, who I thought was only 6 years younger than I am. I mixed up the two girls in that family. She was the youngest of them all, and she was 8 years younger than I am. And when she passed away, it just totally got to my head and said, what's going on here? I know I'm getting older, but I don't feel like I'm getting older. And I had to think about it. And I talked to my wife, and I said, we wanted to travel when we get a little older, so what are we doing? You know, what am I doing? If running for the mayor is a great thing. It was best for the city, I thought. I've never done things for myself, you know, when I volunteer and do things for the city. And then I said, if I can't keep 100% of my mind into this race and into the mayor's position and that, then it's not worth going. It's not the best for the city. So I know that if I get elected, and I thought I had a very good shot at getting elected, it's a 60 to 70 hour a week position for the first 2 years at least, just to
I'm
make
glad you
sure
said
that
at
everything.
least.
And is that fair to my wife? Is that fair to the city if I can't put the extra hours that needed to be into it? And that, so I thought about it a lot more, and then I came to the conclusion. I said, I'm going to stay where I am, still help the city in this position, and go from there, and let somebody else that might have the extra time and that, and things aren't as turmoil in the personal life as what's been going on with ours.
Well, things that have changed are that John Ward has decided that in his retirement he'd like to take a crack at it. That Chris Beauchamp now has talked with his family and decided to take his retirement from his full-time job because he is of age, and move on and run for re-election on this. So the way I always saw it, didn't have the benefit of all your private conversations with Nancy. But I looked at it and said, well, when nobody seemed to want it, you stepped forward. Now you're looking at it and you're saying, yeah, we got some competent people that are running for this thing. So I don't have to run. That's the way it looked to me.
Yeah. Well,
you want to correct me again?
It's not the exact way it happened, but okay, you know, I mean,
that's the way it looked.
People are going to think of what they want to think anyway, so it doesn't, you know.
No, I'll think
I know,
what you want me to think. I'll think what you want me to think.
But,
yeah.
you know, what I had stated was the way. Yeah, life gets in the way.
Now, the big problem here is that someone else, seeing that you weren't running for re-election on your seat, said, you know, I think I'll run. And now you got an opponent.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is, and you'll just have to run your record, I suppose, right?
I will run on what my record is, and I will tell the difference between the two of us, you know, which
well,
we
that's
both,
what you have to do.
Right. We both are. I firmly believe we both have what's best for the city at heart. It just depends on where your stance is and where my stance is and where his stance is and where somebody else's stance is.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Bob, did you have to let the Speaker of the House know that you were running for mayor? And then if you did you have to go back to the Speaker and say, no, I'm officially dropping out, but I am seeking re-election? Did you seek out the Speaker for that?
I let him know of my decision when I made the decision in December to run. Mm-hmm. We happened to have gotten together for an event, and I let him know, and he goes, I'm sorry you're going to be leaving. I says, you've been, you know, a very good asset to the House. And then when I made the decision, I didn't go to the Speaker first because I'm too much of a gentleman. I said, I'm going to speak to my opponent or the person that was going to take my place. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to him and said, we need to talk. And we met the next day. I told him what my decision was and that. And, you know, granted, he was disappointed, and I don't blame him for being disappointed. And then he said he was going to
won't work now.
Right, and and then he said he was going to stay in the race anyways, and that's fine. I told him, I says, you know, if you got to do what you got to do also. Right. So, but then the next day I went to the Speaker and I told him what I had done and what my decision had, and he didn't even know that my cousin passed away. I didn't tell the Speaker either. I didn't tell many people about that one, because that one I was trying to wrap my head around myself. So. So I let him know, and he said, we'll be happy to have you back in that. So.
Oh, good. Okay.
But it gets complicated
It does get complicated
because people have chosen sides.
Because I introduced him to Councilman Manseri and that, and said that nobody else had come forward, and he said, what do you think of him? I said, he's a good guy, you know, and that.
Yeah.
And so he said, okay, and he had a conversation with the councilman, and they decided they would back him. And now that I have changed.
It just makes it awkward.
It makes it awkward for him, and
But
that's
life's
what I
full
felt
of
bad
awkward
for him.
moments.
When I spoke to him, I said, I really feel bad for you, speakers. I put you in an awkward position. He goes, you've been here. You've done very good work. You know, you've got the commission on the solar panels, that you've got your report done, you've got the legislation, and we're going to start moving forward, hopefully, with that. And I chair the redistricting commission for the whole state. And as he stated at one event, we're one of very few, probably a handful of states throughout the country that didn't have any opposition to our redistricting plan. Most states had lawsuits going against them that you did this in violation of this act or in violation of this law.
Right.
We didn't have any. In fact, the ACLU didn't even object to our plan, which I thought for sure they were going to object to it, because we were trying to integrate some of the inmates in the ACI. They were getting released, and we wanted to make sure that if they were able to and eligible to vote when they got out, that they would be in the places that they needed to be prior to their incarceration. And if they're in the intake center, they're not convicted yet, so they still had the eligibility to vote. We took all that into consideration when we came up with our report of the redistricting.
Complicated.
So it was a very intense 5 months, 6 months. We started in August and ended in December, and brought forward the findings in that to the Speaker and the Senate President in January. So,
Well, all I can say is that so many times people I've heard complain about you can't seem to get good candidates to run for president. In District 51, you got two good men running for the job. You choose.
Right. Okay, we're going to take our break here in the Coffee and program, but more with State Rep Bob Phillips is coming your way. We ask you to please stick around.
At Dean Bank, their focus is on helping their customers achieve financial success. Dean Bank is a full-service bank, so they're able to deliver solutions that solve financial problems of all shapes and sizes. And as your neighbor, it's their mission to make a positive impact within the communities where they live and work. Dean Bank offers scholarships to students from participating schools, sponsor local charitable organizations, and more. Visit one of their local Blackstone Valley branches in Bellingham and Blackstone today, or find us online at deanbank.com. Dean Bank, it's my bank.
Hi, this is Leah Pfeiffer.
And this is Alex Kithis.
We're organizers on the Planning Committee for Woonsocket Pride, and we're so excited to invite you to the Woonsocket Pride Festival on Sunday, June 9th, from 12 to 6 p.m. at River Island Park.
The day will be packed with music and drag performances, speeches, food trucks and vendors, tables for local organizations, a performance with the flags, and a ton of other activities.
Follow us at Woonsocket Pride on all social media to learn more. We hope to see you there.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
It's Coffee and here on ON. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan. Dave Richards is saying goodbye. Goodbye, Dave.
Goodbye, Joe.
He's got to get ready for the broadcast a little later on this morning.
That's right.
At 11.
At World War II Park.
All right. We'll see you down there.
We will see you over there.
All right. Melissa Murray's here, and State Rep Bob Phillips is here with us as well. Just talk about Bob and his decision to end running for mayor, but will seek re-election to his House seat. Now, does this affect your position with the Woonsocket School Department? Because if I was correct, you told me at one point when you were elected mayor, you would have to have quit your job as part-time teacher.
correct.
All right. What now? Do you keep that? Do you go back to the school and say, okay, I've changed and I can stay, or are you going to stay semi-retired from the school, or what's the story there?
The last decision I have made, and my wife just says it's totally up to me anyways. All the time she, puts it back on me, but I am going to be semi-retired.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going back to the school this year. My head's not going to be into trying to teach middle schoolers and trying to encourage them, which I've already had a few of the students come up to me, the sixth graders that are going to be seventh graders next year, and says, Mr. Phillips, you're going to come back, right? Because I want you as a teacher. My sister has you, and she loves you and that. And I'm like, oh, great.
Oh, good. Guilt.
Yeah. So, but I think
Well, that's nice to hear. Other than the other,
I want to
I'm so
spend.
glad
more-
you're leaving, Mr. Phillips.
Yeah, right. I want to spend more time with my wife and
Yeah.
maybe go out, maybe take day trips while we're not in session and that,
Yeah.
or maybe take another cruise. My wife and I love cruising, so I plan on doing a few cruises and that. So maybe that's the time, and maybe this is what God is leading me to, is
right.
to say, it's about time you step back a little bit and relax and enjoyed what you have built with your wife and that. So.
All right, very good. Well, the big question then, Bob, is, and talk about going for the jugular. Here we go. Will you or have you endorsed someone for mayor? And if you have, who?
I have not.
Okay.
And I do not plan on it.
Okay.
Right now, I have to concentrate on my race, which is going to and when you endorse somebody for a position you are going to run for, it takes away from your race, and I need to keep the focus on that.
Okay.
So
I was just
I am
wondering
not going to.
If either one reached out to you and said, asking you to endorse him.
No, not yet.
Okay.
And I will tell them the same thing, that I am not going to endorse either one, because they both have their strengths, they both have their weaknesses. Same thing as I have my strengths, and I guess I have my weaknesses. I don't realize them that much. I do know.
Ask Nancy. What your weaknesses
You don't
are.
have enough time to ask Nancy.
We only have 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure she
So-
can rattle off one or two.
Oh, at least. But yeah, it's going to be a weird situation for me. But
Right.
I'm gonna go on.
Okay.
Life goes on.
Right. All right. Let me ask you this, Bob, because I know you were big into this. Back when the whole trucking toll situation. Now the gantries are up and doing nothing.
Correct.
Are they just going to stay up and do nothing?
At this point, yes. It's the appeal. The trucking industry lost the appeal on the sixth district's court, I believe it was, and it's at the U.S. Supreme Court, and they should be coming out with their ruling. I think they've heard the case and they're deliberating it or writing their briefs now, so they should have it. I'm hoping by October. And talking to the American trucking industry and the Rhode Island trucking industry, they feel very confident by precedent that it's going to be overturned
Okay.
and that their tolls are going to be deemed illegal.
All right. And so what do we do, or what does the state do with the gantries that are there if that takes place?
Well, right now,
we take
in my
it-
mind, and maybe Senator Murray can
Right.
weigh in on it also, but in my mind, there's two options. Either they take them down,
All right.
and they just put them away right now, or sell them to another state, or they come before the General Assembly again and try to toll more than just the trucks, which I knew was a distinct possibility.
Oh, sure.
And if you think that it was 99-1 against the truck tolls anyways from the people in my district, it's going to be 150-0.
Yeah, that's a hard no for me.
Yeah.
And I don't see any legislator. I mean, I just don't think it's going to happen because I don't see any legislator voting yes to toll
Yeah.
cars. That's just absolutely not. I would.
So do you think they'll be taken down? Are they just?
Yeah. Oh, and of course,
Why-
that's going to cost more money too.
Well, right.
Right. So.
It costs money to get them. It
Yeah.
costs money to put them up.
Yep.
Now we got to cost money to take them down.
Yep.
And store it somewhere.
Or
or sell them.
sell
like,
the
like you said.
equipment.
Maybe you can sell it first before you take them down. But would another state buy it from us, the state? I mean, or would they go to the company that Rhode
Right.
Island went to?
Yeah,
Why
good
would
question.
Why would they
Good
buy
question.
it from the state and not the company?
Depends on the price.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm sure that has a consideration.
I mean, what are we going to do? Do we take up space for storing it when we know that
That we're never-
nothing is
right.
going to happen?
Never
Right.
going to use them.
Right.
So,
All right. So, plus, if the state sells it, that means the other state would have to install them and get them working.
correct.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I guess they could go back to the company and say, "Well, we just need you to install them and make sure they work." But craziness, huh?
Well,
Yep.
our DOT, I think, installed them themselves. I don't think
I
they.
think so
Did they?
too. I think
I
so
don't think
too,
we
but
had the
I'm-
company that
No? Okay.
that built them in that
Oh,
or
all right.
created them, installed them. I think we did it ourselves and
Yeah.
connected them and with the software for the computers and that.
So, just looking ahead, do you see them being taken down then?
I
Or just
eventually
leave
see
up
them
until
being
they
taken down. Yes.
Okay. Do you see
Yes,
that, Melissa?
I do.
At some point.
Yeah.
But I think we have so much to think about right now. I don't think it's a priority. And
Well,
also,
sure.
we're also still waiting to see what's going to happen, but I think we know what's going to happen, with the lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't see it being high on the priority list to spend money to take them down. I think it's just like a wait and see kind of thing right now.
I wonder what drivers from out of state think when
they're driving by and they think that they're getting.
I'm gonna get something
I'm
in the
gonna
mail.
get a ticket, right?
Oh,
Not a ticket.
yeah.
But,
Well, I know, but like on electronic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
never
gonna get a bill.
I never thought about that myself because I know what I'm in the General Assembly and I also know what the courts have said so far and they had to stop tolling, so I know they're up there.
If I were an out-of-state driver, I would assume that I was just going to get a bill in the mail.
Yeah, yeah. Even though it doesn't tell you anywhere else what the cost is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah,
well, there
right.
they are. Well, something's
you
coming.
don't always know the cost when you're on the Mass Pike either. I guess, or if you
True.
don't pay attention, so you just get a bill for like $1.85 or something, whatever it is. Whatever, it's
I-
probably more than that.
We just got billed $6.25 for going over the Governor Mario Cuomo Bridge, otherwise known as the Tappan Zee Bridge,
Yeah.
All right. I
the
didn't
brand
know-
new one.
I didn't know it was called the Cuomo Bridge.
Yeah,
Yep, they
yeah.
renamed it
Yeah.
about 5 years ago, I think
They
it
did.
is. Yeah.
Oh,
When
all
the
right.
new bridge went up, they called it the Governor Mario C. Cuomo Bridge.
All right.
But everyone just calls it the Tappan Zee.
Tappan Zee
Yeah.
Bridge, yeah. So, speaking of bridges, then we had the story last week. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse wants to make the Verrazano and Pell bridges more bike and pedestrian friendly. And he got grant money to do a study.
Okay.
To see how this would look. Do you think that's a good idea to have better pedestrian bike traffic on those two bridges?
For bike pedestrian, I don't know how much I'd do pedestrian because the bridges are pretty long, and I don't know if you can see somebody
walking
walking,
Walking
2,
to work
3.
on the other side.
But the biking, I mean, it's good to do the study and find out the feasibility of it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rendition will look like if they do redesign it of that. So let's see what it's like. Let's go ahead with the study. I have no problems with that.
There's an organization in Newport called Bike Newport, and they're in charge of finding an organization that can do the study. I guess it's got to be a nationwide. Who does this? kind of thing?
I'm sure there's somebody.
Why would Bike Newport be in charge of it instead of the Bridge and Turnpike Authority?
I don't know, but that
I
was in the
would
story.
assume that the Bridge and Turnpike Authority would be in charge of that.
Maybe they turned it over to Bike Newport
That seemes unusual.
because they said they were going to try to find who could do the study.
Maybe
Well,
they're
they probably
doing it
have to
on their
approve-
own.
Right. It would
Well,
have to
maybe.
be approved by the state.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Maybe helping the state
Right.
find
I'm
somebody.
sure they're at the table, which is always great.
Yeah.
But they can't be
right.
the only folks at the table.
Bob, do you have any bills in committee or at the?
I
State
got a
House
lot of
going
bills
through?
in committee.
Same.
Same.
It's just that I've got one coming out, and it looks like it's passed out of our committee. It's going on to the floor in a week or week and a half. They're trying to mesh it up with another bill that's of similar substance, but it has to do with the trucking industry again. And Senator Murray has been gracious enough to put it in on the Senate side, and that is to when you're being trained to be a truck driver.
The big ones, the 18
The big
wheelers.
18-wheelers
Okay,
and that
yeah.
the big trucks. They're going to train you in how to look out for human trafficking because they're on the road all the time.
All right.
They're the eyes and ears of the roadways, so it's easier for them to pick up these signs that say, oh, gee, Joe Callahan is pulling off to the side, and all of a sudden these 3 women get out of his vehicle all the time. You know, that's a sure sign of human trafficking or something. So that's what I know you wouldn't
I
do
know.
it, Joe, but you know,
I understand
I'm
the
looking at
example.
you right in front of me. So, but
All right.
we need to stop human trafficking. It is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not doing anyone any good. So, the American trucking industry, the Rhode Island truckers, asked me what I thought about it, and I sat with Melissa in my office with Chris Maxwell, who is the CEO of the Rhode Island Trucking Association, about the feasibility of putting this bill in it. And I went forward with it, and I had to do a sub-A because I had at first put the DMV as the people in charge of making sure the training is done. But finding out that our state law is different from some of the other state laws, we modeled it after Arkansas, who has this legislation in place. And in retrospect, it's not the DMV that's in charge, it's the Office of Post-Secondary Education. So we just did a sub-A to replace the word DMV with the Office of Post-Secondary Education. So it came out, it's going to be on the floor, as I said, in about a week and a half.
Okay, well, we've run out of time here at the Coffee and program, so thank you very much for listening in on this Memorial Day. Bob Phillips, thanks for coming in and
Thank you,
talking
Joe, for
about
having me.
Your decision to not run for mayor, but to seek a re-election for your House seat. So
Thank you.
best of luck in your re-election.
Thank you.
All right, and Melissa, thanks for coming in as well.
Thank you.
And our thanks to Dave Richards, who was here a little earlier as well. This is Joe Callahan. Enjoy the rest of Memorial Day. We have our broadcast coming up at 11 this morning. I hope you can join us for there. Tiki Bar tonight at 6. And stay tuned for Leslie Page at the library and Food First with Karen Zangari. It's next on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
We read at valleybreeze.com from North Smithfield. Starting this coming Friday night, May 31st, the Rhode Island Department of Transportation will change the traffic pattern on Route 146 North at the Sales Hill Road intersection in North Smithfield. You know, there's been a lot of construction there. And you can see that flyover bridge is being completed. Well, not quite, but close enough for this change. There will be a lane split as you head north from Providence for only northbound traffic approaching the intersection. With the left lane going northbound, you can use the recently completed section of the new flyover bridge instead of stopping at the traffic signal like you have been forever. Both lanes of the new flyover bridge will both be used for northbound traffic only. Drivers should not suddenly change lanes at the split and try to take one or the other that they're not in the lane for. Just keep on going because they all end up, at the West Acres interchange and ultimately West Worcester. All lanes go through, according to the press release.